Kevin Borba of Locked On Buffs. Deion Sanders. We had this conversation at large last offseason about him being done at Colorado following his son and Travis Hunter leaving and everything flips and turns over. Is this a swan song? Is this his last season at Colorado just to prove that he can win or be a good coach or be a good leader without his son? Does he have something to prove this year that will allow him to exit to a bigger school or to the NFL and leave Colorado behind?
I think by him signing on to be one of the highest paid coaches in college football, I think that's a perfect sign that he's not leaving coaching, right? I don't say I was under the impression that he was going to leave because I never thought he was going to leave, but I figured if there was a time for him to depart coaching, it would have been when his son's left for the NFL. So he's still coaching, which I feel like is a respectable move because he had said time and time again, like, I'm a grown man. I do my own things. Like, I'm not following my sons. They followed me. And then everyone's like, okay, we'll see, right? We'll see when a TV job offer comes your way or an NFL job offer comes your way. And it sounds like he did kick the tires on the NFL. At the same time, it may have also been sort of a move to get Colorado to make him the highest paid coach in the Big 12 and a top 5 highest paid coach in college football. So I think he returns to Colorado, right? I think regardless of what year it is, I think Deion Sanders is always going to want one thing, which is power at his program. He's going to want the ability to run his ship the way he wants, right? And I think everyone is like, he won't stay at Colorado forever because some SEC school is going to come knocking on the door eventually and being like, hey, come coach here. And everyone's just looking at the brand, right, of the SEC. They're not looking at how Deion Sanders operates. And Deion Sanders operates in a very unique way. I think if you're a non-Colorado program, you're probably like, I would never let that fly here. And it's not that he does anything bad. It's just he runs Colorado, right? He sells his own merchandise. He has, at any given time, there's like 3 documentary cameras there, right? Like he's going to be on a Netflix show. He had an Amazon Prime show the past 2 years. His own son has a YouTube channel. Like he does things his way. He builds his roster through the portal. And so I just don't think that going to a bigger school where the boosters and the school is going to want to be super involved in his decision-making is going to fly. And Colorado lets him do him. And until he gives them a reason not to let him do that, I feel like it's the perfect marriage.
Why is Deion Sanders still coaching college football?
It's a good question. I think he found his passion, right? I think in one way or another, I think it's his passion to coach and mentor the youth of college football, right? He said, even though like there was the NFL rumors, he never wanted to coach in the NFL because he can't like mentor those grown men, right? Those guys are there for a paycheck. They're there to play for their family. They're there for their legacy. For college football, there's still kids chasing dreams. Even with all of the shenanigans that go on with NIL and the transfer portal, it's still, at the end of the day, kids chasing a dream, which is getting to the NFL, playing football at the highest level. And I think Deion Sanders has shown that he can help people reach their dream, right? And he brings in a great staff. Like there's not many, if any, other college football coaching staffs that have 3 Hall of Fame players on their staff, right? They have Warren Sapp, they have Marshall Faulk. Everyone on the staff outside of like 2 people has played in or coached in the NFL. So he's all about helping players reach their dream. And Drake, I think this is like on a personal level, he's a bit of an empty nester, right? All of his kids are, I think his youngest daughter is still in college, but she transferred elsewhere. And so Shilo, Shedeur, Deion Jr., his oldest daughter, they're all well off into adulthood now. And although I'm sure Deion Sanders has plenty of other opportunities, like he has a TV show he does and stuff like that, I think part of him is happy to have his own thing, right? I think once we all grow up and move on, like when your parents realize like, hey, Drake's done like living here, like they pick up golf or they pick up whatever, they pick up antiquing, right? And I think this is his golf or antiquing. It's his hobby. It's his passion that he was able to do with his kids. And now it's something that he could do by himself.
Why, man, this is a tough one and it comes up a lot, but I'm going to do it again. Why hasn't he left for the SEC or the Big Ten for an Auburn Auburn is always the school that's kind of thrown around in this conversation. Why has he not done that? And do you think ultimately he will?
Yeah, it's a good question. At the end of the day, if an SEC school comes knocking, it's gonna have to be an SEC school that doesn't have an overbearing booster group, right? And if you aren't familiar with what a booster group is, it's basically just a bunch of rich dudes who are just like, hey, I donate money to this program, so I get to tell you what I want, or I get to tell you what to do. And I think that's the one thing that'll prevent Deion Sanders from moving on, right? Or if he does eventually leave for an SEC program or Big Ten program, it's a school that's going to be willing to let him do his thing, right? So automatically, I think there's programs that people are like, he's going to go to the, like you said, Auburn, right? Auburn is notorious for having very hands-on boosters, right? Alabama, same thing. Ohio State's, not that Ohio State would be open, but like Ohio State's fan base and boosters are some of the most rabid in college football, right? So it would have to be like the perfect pairing. And I don't know how many programs out there are really willing to allow that to happen. And again, I'm saying this because I don't want people to be like, Kevin's saying he's doing bad things. He doesn't do anything bad. He just runs the program. He runs Colorado his way or the highway. And so if there were a job, I think it would be an unorthodox job. Like, I'm not saying he'd go to like Mississippi State, but I don't think it'd be like a top tier SEC job. I think it'd be a program who's in the SEC that isn't notorious for being atop the conference. But I really think he likes Colorado. I genuinely do. I think he'll have opportunity. He probably had opportunities to leave after they went 9-4 last year. They probably had opportunities to leave after the first year, right? So I just feel like he's kind of he's put what he said, put down the thing on the bike, the kickstand. Sorry, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. He put down his kickstand in Colorado, and I think for him it means something different than other coaches who are like, this is my dream job, right? I think if Deion Sanders leaves Colorado, this is my take on Deion Sanders leaving Colorado. It'll be for the media. I don't think it'll be for coaching.
He's the most important figure in the Big 12, yes or no?
Absolutely. I think he's the face of the conference. I think he, in a way, gives the conference hope, right? Colorado was the only, I think there were 1 or 2 schools, including Georgia, to have every single game nationally televised last year. For some programs in the Big 12, when they played Colorado, that might have been their only nationally televised game, right? Mm-hmm. So he gives the Big 12 a bigger platform. I talked about this with Spencer from Locked on College Football. I think Deion Sanders in Colorado being great would probably be the best thing for the Big 12 because it brings so much more attention to the conference, right? And I think, I'd love to get your thoughts on it because everyone's going to say I'm the Locked on Buffs guy, so it's biased. But realistically, is there anyone bigger in the conference than him? And is there anyone in the conference who can boost it more than he can?
Certainly not. Yeah, Kenny Dillingham's a great coach. Kalani Sitake is a stalwart. We know that Kyle Whittingham can win football games, but there's not an individual player. There's not an individual coach. Even Bill Self is not changing the economy of Lawrence, Kansas, the way that Deion Sanders is. Bill Self wasn't an NBA. This is the equivalent of a Michael Jordan type coaching a college basketball team in the Big 12. It would be groundbreaking. That's what Deion Sanders is doing as a former NFL star, and to great success. I don't think there is another person you can name who's done more for a university in this conference right now, or does more because, again, Colorado is in the spotlight constantly with the name Deion Sanders tied to them. Coming up, bad spotlight. The whole Jake Retzlaff situation is just, no matter how you spin it, tough for this conference, bad for BYU, and the reaction of hosts across this network has been it just shock. This is a Locked on Big 12, Locked on Buffs crossover.